Hello, and welcome back to Life.EV, a podcast that dives into exploring values. I'm your host, Ajit Panicker, and I lead an air conditioning company, Nova, and Pure Blue, a tech startup in the air conditioning domain. Join us every Saturday at 11 a.m. for conversations that go beyond business growth, focusing on the values that fuel it. Let's embark on a journey to uncover our true purpose and how we grow by enriching our lives. Welcome to Life.EV, where we explore the values in life and business. As always, I've got Vivek with me. Hi Vivek, how are you doing?
Hi, Ajit. I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Absolutely good. Vivek is the driving force behind Chemo Fastener Company, a trailblazing company in the industrial fastener sector. What sets Vivek apart is his deep engagement with the exploration of values. Now, for close to 4 years, he has dedicatedly penned his reflections on this topic every week. These insights, thoughts are accessible on his website, vivekasrani.com. Vivek has also co authored the book One Day at a Time Reflections from Times of Silence, which further delves into his journey and insights. This thought provoking read is available on Amazon, offering readers a chance to engage with his profound understanding of values and their role in both personal and professional lives. So, as usual, in today's episode of Life.EV, we are delving into another compelling topic, that is, which is on finding purpose. Over to you, Vivek. Let's hear your reflection on this.
So, Ajit, a purposeful life is a well lived life. Now, very often when somebody asks us the question that what is the purpose of your life, we don't always have a clear answer. And it's a fact, it's not very easy to sit back and say, oh, this is really the purpose of my life. Not everybody has something which is big, impactful, and which is kind of life changing. So very often we find ourselves, and that includes me, you're doing what you're doing, you're drifting through life, you're moving along, and somebody says, what's your purpose? And you sit back and say, "Really, what is my purpose?" So this question came to me as well, and I one day sat back and I asked myself this question. I said, how do I define purpose for myself? Because I'm an average business person. I'm running a business, I have a family, I'm part of some social initiatives, so I'm busy, I'm involved. But if somebody asks me what is the purpose of my life, what really is the purpose of my life, and it got me thinking, and I came up with an answer for myself, which I'll just share with you, which is, if I'm able to give meaning to everything that I do in my life, that in itself becomes a purposeful life for me. And I remember hearing a story which kind of put this in perspective for me. There's this man who walks into a stone quarry and he sees three men breaking stone. So he goes to the first person and he says, "What are you doing?" So the man looks at him, very irritated, and says, "Can't you see that I'm breaking stones?" So he goes to the second person and he says, "What are you doing?" So he says, "Can't you see it's hot and I'm sitting in this heat breaking stones?" And he goes to the third person, who was actually singing while he was breaking the stone and smiling away. So he asked him, he said, "What are you doing?" So the man looks up at him and says, "You see that hospital that's coming up across the road? I'm breaking stones to build that hospital." The third man had a purpose. So all three of them were doing the same thing. But what differentiated the third person's attitude from the first two was he had a purpose. So for me, purpose is giving meaning to every small and big action that we do in life. And then it comes to the fact that there is no small and big action. It's really everything we do, because no action in itself is small. Every moment of our life is as precious, as important, and therefore should be as purposeful as any other moment. So giving meaning to everything that we do is living a purposeful life. And why is it important to have this kind of a meaning and a purpose? The question then you'll ask is that, look, you wake up in the morning, you go through life and you enjoy yourself, you're happy, you do good, you don't hurt others. So what's wrong with that? Nothing wrong with that. And that probably is a lot of people's existence. But giving ourselves a bit of a purpose does two things. One is it keeps us focused and inspired at all points of time. And this is where I think understanding the nature of the mind becomes a little important. The mind loves inertia by default. That's the nature of the mind. If it isn't given an inspiring higher purpose, it will naturally gravitate to something more comfortable, and it loves to be lazy. So purpose in a way keeps us anchored, focused, inspired. So that's one aspect of it. But the second aspect of purpose, which we sometimes overlook, is that in adversity, in challenges, we need a certain amount of inner strength, resilience, and stamina to overcome the challenge. And if we don't have a sense of purpose as to why we are still in the game and why we are going through what we're going through and what we really need to achieve and what's the purpose behind overcoming this, chances are that the situation will overpower us and we won't find the inner strength to live up to the challenge. One example that comes to mind: India was playing Australia in a test match. Australia gave us a follow on, and VVS Lakshman, he came up with that brilliant innings of his. I don't remember the score, but I think it was in the vicinity of 300. And from a follow on, India actually went on to win that match. But VVS Lakshman had a purpose. He wasn't just standing there in the middle of the field saying, okay, now I have to bat, I'll bat. If I get a run, great. If I don't, I'll lose my wicket, big deal. No, he had a purpose that I have to save this game for my team, for my country. And I think that's at some level what kept him anchored and gave him that inner strength and energy to overcome that what seemed like an impossible mission or a crazy challenge at that point of time. So I think purpose, to put it in a nutshell, is a giving meaning to everything that we do in life. The second aspect is that it keeps us focused and inspired, not allowing the mind to drift. And third is, in adversity and challenges, it gives us that inner strength and stamina to keep going.
Amazing, yeah. But tell me something, hardships and monotony. I think they're just the way of our lives, right? They just
Yeah.
go hand in hand. Now, you also spoke about, this purpose can also help you overcome both hardships and monotony.
Yeah.
Can you share any personal experiences of yours to actually explain this?
So I'll give you an experience which I had in my business context. So when I started the new division, and I had to start with a capital of 50,000 rupees in 96, and it was a new product that we were launching into the country, which was the industrial range of stapling and nailing tools. And I remember, Ajit, at that time, we already had a bit of a dealership network in the stationery market, which my grandfather and father had set up. So I just started going to the hardware markets and I said, okay, I'm going to set up dealers in the hardware markets. Some hardware shops will become our dealers and I'll start my business. So I was kind of modeling it exactly the way we had the old stationery business. And I visited, I'm not exaggerating, more than 400 dealer shops in India across Bombay, Delhi, Chennai, Bangalore, Coimbatore, and Delhi. And I wasn't able to set up one dealer. So over the period of, I think, almost 6 months or 8 months, okay, I'd visit these various cities and I'd start in the morning at 10 o'clock, go shop to shop, meet people, sometimes just wait for an hour for them to even look up and, give me some time, with my briefcase and my visiting card. And I had one model of tool which was there in my bag. And I was just getting zero success, right? Day after day, month after month. But I was very clear in my mind that I had to finally succeed in this business for two reasons. One is, internally, I was convinced that this is the right direction in business for us, and I knew there was potential in this. But also, it was a matter of survival at some level at that point of time. Not as dramatic as survival, but I knew that I had to make something of this business because I needed a future for myself. And that purpose to start off with, and I'll be honest, it wasn't some very lofty purpose of changing the world. It was as simple a purpose of, look, I need to establish myself and give myself and my family a strong base, or a decent or respectable base. So that's what kept me going in the face of adversity. And I mean, long story short, things played out well. We were very lucky. But if you ask me what kept me going in the first few years of my struggle, it was just that deep sense of purpose that, look, I have to make this happen. Right. That was my story. I'm sure you've also probably been through situations where you've had to kind of struggle and uh, overcome things, but that purpose kept you going?
You know what, Vivek? I'll tell you, it happened when I met a very old friend of mine. So I've worked for about 15 years in various corporate assignments, kind of a stuff. And
Hmm.
every 5 years, I've changed jobs, right? And most of the time, I've changed jobs because you just get bored. You just want to get challenged and move. So I met one of these friends of my own from this time, and he told me, dude, every 5 years you moved just because you got bored. How come you were running a business for 25 years and you're still running this job? How does that happen? And actually, that got me thinking. I said, yeah, man, how did that happen? In entrepreneurship, you don't think of another job. You're just going to stay focused on it. And here's something very interesting that when we really look back, we realized, that over the last 25 years, we have more than 50 to 60% of our employees who stayed with us, who've not left us. And some of them have even been with us for almost 25, 30 years, 20 years and plus.
Hmm.
And when you go back through these resumes, of how people joined, they were just like very simple people. Maybe one was a telephone operator, the other one was a data entry operator. And in 25 years, some of them are managers in our company today, handling big, important assignments and everything. And I guess, that's very inspiring for us. I think maybe subconsciously you never thought of that as a purpose, but the very fact that you are able to feel that, you made a big difference. And now, since you have clarity on that, it's actually energizing, that listen, you need to make money, but that gets monotonous. And then there are ups and downs, there are hardships over it. But this purpose of transforming lives and making a big impact, I think that's very inspiring. And I think today I get a feeling, that, listen, some of us just go back to the same place again and again and again and again is because there's something bigger that we're doing. Some of us realize what it is, some of us just don't. And I think once you kind of understood what that purpose is, you can just extract a lot of energy around it. And that can keep you going. And I guess that's my big takeaway from that reflection that you just spoke about. But while reading the reflection, I also love that little story that you spoke about, Akbar and Tansin, and I think you should talk about it.
Hey, one of my favorite stories. So one day Akbar tells Tansen, he says, Tansen, you're one of the greatest singers in my court, but I would like to hear your guru sing. So they go to the guru's house. First day, nothing happens. Second day, nothing happens. On the third day, full moon night, the guru sings, and he sings so beautifully that Akbar is mesmerized. On the way back, Akbar asks Tansen, he says, Tansen, you're the greatest singer in my court. Why is it that your guru sings better than you do? So Tansen looks at him and says, Japana, the answer is very simple. I sing for you, he sings for the Lord. The higher
True.
the purpose, greater the impact. And that story actually, Ajit, became the cornerstone of my thinking. Every time I would take a step back and look at, like you said, as an entrepreneur, look at the business. And I kept saying, what is my purpose in the business? What is the purpose of our business? Because the difference between our goals in life and our goal of life. So, two quick, examples which came to mind while you were sharing your example of a telephone operator and some of your team members. Mahesh used to be, somebody delivering parcels to our office from a courier company. Asked us whether we had a job, and we put him in the spare parts department as a helper, just to give one part from here to there and move a paper from here to there, and just like an office person. And he showed interest. He was smart. Long story short, today Mahesh heads that division of 5,000 spare parts. Senior engineers consult with him. And for me personally, that was one of the purposes of our business, that can we create opportunities and give people who have ability, can we give them opportunities to kind of flourish, and can we create that kind of an environment. The other thing is, which comes to mind, is we have a support program in the company where if anybody wants to study, we pay 50% of your tuition fee, and the balance 50% we give you as a loan. You can pay through your salary over the next 3-5 years. You shouldn't stop growing because of education. Aisha did her part-time MBA through this program in our company. And after she finished, after a year, she comes to me and she says, "Look, it's embarrassing, but I found another job and I need to leave." And I was thrilled because I said, "Aisha, you're moving to a much bigger, better company." She said, "Yeah, but the only reason I'm able to do that is because I did my MBA. And I did the MBA because of the program that we had in our company over here." I said, "That doesn't matter. Our job is not to invest in you to hold you back. Our job is to invest in you to kind of help you grow and move to the next level in life." And there are so many such small stories that I'm sure you also have, and we have in our company as well, and all of us have as MSME owner managers. So the purpose of them running the business was way beyond the profit motive. It just became uh, creating value and impact in the lives of all the stakeholders, which is not just our team members and our customers, but also our suppliers. And I'd shared in one of our earlier talks where we where we even supported one of our competitors who called during COVID and said, "Look, because of disruption, there's no raw material." We actually shipped raw material to a competitor to keep his factory running because we said this is not the time to think as competition. We need to just help each other, when the world is going through one of its most severe challenges. So the purpose then for me personally, Ajit, has become to create impact and value in the lives of people whom I am able to interact with at a personal level and with whom we interact as a business. And the last thing I will say is that in as much as we try and find meaning in everything we do, in as much as we define a certain purpose for our businesses and ourselves personally, it's equally important to keep revisiting that purpose and sometimes even redefining it, because as the world changes, the environment changes, the needs change, the call on us keeps changing. You need to keep asking yourself, okay, that was my purpose. I have achieved a certain level of what I wanted to. Be careful that I don't slip into a comfort zone, and keep asking ourselves the question, so what's my purpose now for the next, foreseeable 1, 3, 5 years or whatever. And keep it simple. It doesn't have to be something lofty. You don't have to go change the world. But if at the heart and the center of everything we do, we're conscious of giving of ourselves and making a difference in somebody's life, I think that's a life lived with purpose, and that's a life well lived.
Amazing stories and amazing sharings. Yeah, that was really good to have picked up this topic, and it was also thought provoking with some deep insights. Well, that's all the time that we have for today. So it certainly gives us a lot of thoughts to think about and balance between exploring values and business growth. Now, I encourage you, each of you, to not just keep these ideas to yourself. Share this episode with your friends and colleagues and family, and ask them, "What do you think?" Spark a conversation and see where it leads. And we'd love to hear from you too. Join the dialogue on our social media platforms. Share your questions, your learnings, and the insights you have gained from this episode. It's through these shared experiences and perspectives that we all grow and learn. So don't hesitate to reach out and contribute to this ongoing conversation. Your voice matters in shaping a ethically driven business world. Well, that's it for today. Join us again next week for another enriching episode of Life.EV, where we continue our exploration into the fascinating world of exploring values in our lives. Vivek, as usual, thank you for your valuable contributions today, and looking forward to diving deeper into these critical discussions in our next session. To all our viewers, see you next week, where we'll come back again with another topic on Life.EV, life exploring values. Thank you, Vivek. Thank you very much.
My pleasure, Ajit. Thanks. Bye.